Welcome to Astrology with Kevin Arba. Well, when you were talking about I guess it was the Saturn Pluto conjunction, and
yes, which would be what was happening. Jupiter was also there, and it was in the sign of Capricorn, which is where Saturn is most potent.
And astrologers are learning from that transit because we haven't had, at least in written history, we haven't had that many pandemics. So I'm sure astrologers immediately looking back at the astrology during the Black Plague or during the 1914 pandemic.
What's interesting is the last Saturn Pluto conjunction, which was 82, 83, is when AIDS came about. So it does seem that is one manifestation of those two planets combining. World War I also began in a Saturn Pluto conjunction. 9/11 happened at the halfway point, the Saturn Pluto Opposition. So it does seem that those two planets, when they come together, it marks significant, unpleasant events.
Right. And I know I've read a lot of astrologers were, again, similar to January of 2020, a lot of astrologers were predicting something was going to happen in September of 2001.
Yep.
Nobody necessarily predicted. I'm sure astrologers did.
Robert Hand actually predicted a terrorist attack. He's a pretty well-known astrologer. One of the other things that astrologers were looking at with this Pluto transit, the Saturn-Pluto conjunction, Jupiter was also in the mix there, is that it corresponded when it was exact. So they were kind of around each other for a period of, if you give 10 degrees, the year prior and the year after. But when it was exact, the only one time that it was exact was within days of an eclipse that was exactly opposite to that point.
Okay.
It was a lunar eclipse, so it would have been at 20 degrees of Cancer. So then the sun was also then passing through that point of 20 degrees Capricorn at the same time that Saturn and Pluto were exactly in conjunction. And Jupiter was kind of in the around there. I think Mercury was also passing through that point at the same time. So there was a lot of activity right in that, those few days there at the beginning of January. There's also something else that I haven't heard anybody else talk. I've heard one person talk about, which is, the moon's nodes, something we look at, but each planet has a node as well.
Oh, okay.
Which are very slow moving. They're more or less stationary. And Saturn and Pluto's south node is also right where, at the end of Capricorn, right where the Saturn-Pluto conjunction happened.
Oh, wow.
And there's, talking about research, there's one person I read who did some research on that and found a lot of really significant things individually as well as in nations and in the world.
Okay.
Corresponding to when transits lined up with planetary nodes. So it's interesting that Saturn and Pluto's nodes are also right next to each other, and that's when this happened. In my opinion, that is perhaps another very significant factor that added energy and weight to this particular event, which is, changed the world. The world as we know it will never be the same.
No, it won't, and it's an exciting time to be alive, I think, because there is this potential.
It's a fascinating time to be alive.